Hello, hello, good evening. Can you hear me, please?
Oh yes, I can hear you. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Good evening. Yeah, I can hear you now. But I don't
Is
know
it
if
just two?
everyone is listening. Yeah. Hello?
I said, is it just two of us on the call?
No, I think it's a YouTube call. So I think it's
Oh,
connected.
oh, okay.
Yes. Okay. Okay, everyone, welcome to this event. Good evening and welcome to the first day of Krawdwise Social Impact Conference. I am Kende Shalom, and it's an absolute honor to be your moderator for this impactful event. On behalf of the organizing team, I want to thank each one of you for joining us today for this enlightening and inspiring series of discussion. This conference is much more than just an exchange of ideas. It's a platform for us to come together, connect, and work towards actionable solutions that will shape the future of leadership in Africa. I hope you are all excited to dive into today's discussion. As you're all aware, the theme of today's session is empowering the next generation leadership in a diverse Africa. Africa is a home to the fastest growing youth population in the world, and we stand on the cusp of monumental change. The challenges we face, whether they be in governance, education, or economic development, require the kind of leadership that nurtures diversity, creativity, and collaboration. The conversations we have here today are critical. We'll be hearing from an incredible speaker who has not only made an impact in our respective individual industry, but is also paving the way for the next generation of leader. I encourage you all to engage fully, ask questions, share your thoughts in the chat, and connect with each one another. We will have an amazing opportunity to learn from each other experience and perspective. Just before we begin, I would like to acknowledge the speaker who has agreed to share her insights with us today. Bamigboye Tioluwani. She is a renowned Nigerian entrepreneur and founder of Waraja, who has been a trailblazer in leveraging entrepreneurship for social good. Thank you so much for being with us today, and we look forward to your valuable contribution. You can start. You can begin now, Mrs. Tioluwani Bamigboye.
Good evening. Can anyone hear me now?
Good evening.
Good evening. Okay, thank you so much for having me. And before we start, my name is actually Tioluwani, not Toluwani, right? That is what that's my name. I
Oh,
just wanted to correct
sorry,
that. No, no, it's fine.
corrected
It's
me.
fine. I get that. I get that a lot, so it's okay. So I don't know if you can see my screen. I'd really I can check in the chat box right now. So I'd love to confirm if anyone can see my screen from the chat box. Currently trying to display my screen. Okay. Mm, can you confirm if you can see my screen?
No, I can't see it yet. Hello, I still can't see it.
Yes. Okay, I'm trying to fix that because I mean, if we don't have the screen, okay, yes. I think it should be up right now. Is it up now?
Not yet.
Okay, I don't know how that can be fixed, but I'd really need help with that.
Okay. Can you send the slide to me? Let me see.
Okay. So- Alright, so while we're trying to fix the screen, good evening everyone once more. And just like Kanye said, Bamingwe, and I the little introduction she made about me, that's basically who I am. But one thing I am so interested in, and one reason I am so grateful to be a part of this impactful conference by Krawdwise is the fact that it is focused on Africa. It is Africa. It is about Africa, and it is how we can. It is direct towards how we can build Africa. Just before I joined this conference, yeah, I was on a Twitter space and someone said something really interesting on that space. The person was like, the fact that Africa is a market on its own is a major market on its own, and people have started realizing that it's not just about consuming what these guys makes for us, and it is more about building what we want, building the ecosystem, building the global market, like not just um taking in everything they give to us, but creating something different and something that is original and authentic for ourselves, right? So the fact that we have started to realize this is really interesting because I mean we have always been in that with that idea of things that come out from Africa or Nigeria is not the best, is not this, is not that. But now people are changing the status quo. People are changing the idea behind it, and that is what make us leaders. That is how we become leaders. So today we're going to be talking about empowering the next generation, leadership in a diverse Africa. Africa is diverse. We all know that Nigeria is diverse, but how do we even build ourselves as leaders, and how do we empower the next generation? We cannot give what we don't have, of course. So we need to be able to build ourselves to that point where we are comfortable enough, and we're now in that position where we can give what we have to the next generation. Can you please help with the slide? So I'll just say next, then you can help just move it. Thank you. So yeah,
Okay.
next slide.
Alright.
Thank you. So
Okay.
okay,
I'm
so
on the
okay, so basically, thank you, Kende. So basically, what is Africa like? People say something about most of the African population is under the age of 25, which is still the youth age. Do we exactly believe that? Yes, that is actually very true because in Africa, we have more vibrant people, we have more young people who are intellectually sound and who are also in the best who have the best energy towards things, especially like leadership. But the problem is, are we exactly given that opportunity? Well, we can say no, but I mean, one thing about Africans is that we have been able to build our resilient spirit to a point where whether or not we're given the opportunity to do whatever we want to do, especially when it comes to innovation, leadership, and the likes of that, we still try to carve out a way for ourselves. So The future of Africa actually lies in our hands. And it is not just about being the leaders of tomorrow, it is being the leaders of today. It is the decision we make today that will shape what we and where we are going, how we are going to live in the future. It's going to shape in Africa's trajectory for decades to come, right? So the great potential that comes with responsibility is can be overwhelming sometimes. But as we gather here today, we must also recognize that youth leadership is not just about holding positions of power. It is about making meaningful contributions to our community, challenging the status quo, and driving solutions to the unique challenges we face as a continent. So, in today's world, we're going to in today's conference, we're going to explore what it means to be a leader, the rapid in this rapid evolving diverse Africa, and we're going to talk about examples, share ideas, and most importantly equip ourselves with tools that is needed to take action. So guys, I feel like this is going to be a very amazing ride, but I also kind of interactive sections, but it's sad that we have it here on YouTube, so you can just type in your questions, type in your contributions and feedbacks during the conference in the chat box. I would really love to see it. So yes, Kende, please, the next slide.
You can continue now.
Okay, so what is the role of youth in Africa's transformation? We've said something about how we are the leaders of today and not just of tomorrow, because it's what we develop and what we grow today that is going to become what or who we are tomorrow. So in this present age, youth are seen as drivers for social, economical, and political change. And in today's world, an average African youth is seen as dynamic, resourceful, and resilient. People get challenged when they see an African, when they come across an African. Why? Because there's just this resilient spirit that speaks without us even speaking. I mean, it shows in the way we carry ourselves, in the way we tackle issues, in the way we um face problems, and the way we live our lives every day basically. So this diversity in our culture, experience, and perspective is one of our greatest strengths. And how does all of this actually impact our roles as an African youth in the African continent? One thing we have been able to leverage on as our strength is our culture. And that is why Africans today, especially young Africans, are seen as cultural ambassadors. So we believe in our identity. We also carry our identity the same way we want people to carry our identity. Like we explain our culture to people, we explain our culture to people, we have our identity, and we are not shy to actually showcase it. Although there's still a lot of things that work that need to be done on that, but the fact that there's still part of us, there's still a section of us that takes pride in our identity is another thing that is actually very, very, very interesting, and it remains a source of strength for us. Another role of youth in the African's transformation is driving digital transformation. And currently, I can say for sure, because like I'm in the tech space and I've seen products, sorry, I've seen tech products come out from Africa, and they're really interesting ideas that even makes it feel like African youth have developed ideas that are leading in the digital revolution, driving technological innovations in areas like mobile banking, e-commerce, and even health tech, right? So this shift in technology, in mindset, has enhanced the industry and also improved access to services across the continent. So what I'm trying to drive here is that one of the roles of Africans of youth in African transformation is our adoption of digital transformation and driving digital transformation in the continent. Another role is the recent involvement of of our political engagement and leadership. We see young people, activists, voters elected into offices trying to reform policies and represent the young people in the governance space, right, in the political space, and they're doing a very 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 really amazing good job. So when we talk about roles of youth in African's transformation, it is all of this and more, right? It is all of this and more, but like all of this is going on within us. We see it that yes, we are doing these things, but how do people see us? I think that is where the problem is. Because honestly, if you come to think of it, we know what we are, we know who we are, we know what we are made of, how we are made, and how we see ourselves. But how do people see us? And I think that is our greatest concern when it comes to leadership, when it comes to transformation in Africa. And to transform Africa, leadership is a very major factor. And that is why I love the idea of this conference, because I mean, if you don't lead the change, nobody is going to follow. Nobody is going to want to be a part of it. Nobody will even understand why you're trying to change something when you're not leading by example, right? Next slide, please. Kind. So when it comes to leading change, then we're talking about things like African youths as catalysts for social change. And I'm just going to read what I have here. Yeah. African youth have been central in advocating for social justice, equality, and human rights. Movements like NSAS in Nigeria, Fees Must Fall in South Africa, the activism highlights the roles of youth in pushing for social reforms. And this is through volunteerism and grassroots initiatives. And with all of these, youth are actually tackling pressing issues such as poverty, education, health, and directly improving our communities. If you look at major ecosystems in Africa, the support, the encouragement, the teamwork, the innovativeness that comes in this ecosystem has driven so many people to their success, to their success basically, right? And for example, the tech ecosystem, the tech ecosystem in Africa is one of the strongest ecosystems in Africa. And that is why we see tech CEOs and all of that come together to try to build something, an amazing product. And before you know it, they're getting the support. They already have a community on Twitter. They leverage Twitter, they leverage all of these things. You can see how we also even leverage Twitter for the NSAS protest, how the whole idea of Fees Must Fall came up in South Africa, how we leverage social media for fight against injustice, and you know, all of these really amazing things. That is who we are, and that is what we have been able to do. That is what we have been able to accumulate. Why am I mentioning this? Why am I talking about this? I'm talking about this because I'm trying to remind us of who we are and not what or who we have been painted as, you know, how people see us. And that is not who we are. This is who we are. This is what we have. This is how we see ourselves. And this is how we should keep seeing ourselves, regardless of how whosoever sees us. That is contrary against that is going against contrary to what and how we see ourselves, right? So African youths have been driving change and transformation through our drive for social change. And we have seen this like firsthand. So you get so now, how do people see us? Because to be a leader, you should understand who you are, where you're coming from, and how people see you. The reason you need to understand how people see you is going to help with getting the idea of where you need to start changing the status quo, when you what the problem is and what the solution might be, right? So in African context, how do people see us? People see us, or let's say we're seen as the problem we face. Basically, there's this thing people say, you don't look like your problem. We look like our problem to them, right? They see us like the problem we face, basically. The unemployment issues, the political instability, the limited access to quality education, the lack of access to finance and resources, the corruption and lack of transparency. You cannot mention 5 African countries today, and the next thing you're hearing is, oh, they're so corrupt. Oh, they're so corrupt. Or you mentioned some African countries like, oh, the education there is so poor. I'm not saying that this doesn't exist. I'm not saying that this is not a problem that we face. I'm not saying we should forget it um as a problem, but I need us to accept it as a problem, and from there drive the change. That is what makes you a leader. That is how you become a leader. That is why you need to be. That's definitely going to build you into that leadership personality. The fact that it is of utmost concern to you is one major reason why you're going to see it as a problem and try to drive solutions to so that you get. Next slide, please. So now we understand who we are, right? What we are, right? We have been able to define what we are, who we are, and now we have also seen who and how people see us, right? Which is not like our true identity. So now, what is that thing that is going to help you build that leadership skill? There's a problem, right? People are seeing us as what we are not. That is the problem. So to change that problem, you need to come out as a leader to face the problem. So, what are the leadership skills you need to be able to do this for this generation, for our next generation? What are those leadership skills you need to be able to change the status quo, to be able to lead the change, right? Number one, emotional intelligence. People are mentioning emotional intelligence, emotional intelligence, emotional intelligence. We get emotional intelligence almost everywhere we turn to in today's world. And basically, emotional intelligence for a leader is the ability to be able to be aware of your own emotions, your strengths and weaknesses, understand how emotions influence your decision making and behavior is very, very crucial for a leader, right? Let's say, for example, you say that there's a problem in your community, right? Um, there's probably, let's say, uh, lack of water in your community, and you see it as a problem. You want to lead the change. For that, you probably want to get sponsors from the UN and all of that to build a ball in your community and all that. Yes, that is a problem. But what if the community do not see it as a problem? Or let's say just some people sees it as a problem and some people wants to make more money from it, because we understand that some people are like kind of like selfish. What if you get to encounter selfish people and everything, and now your emotional intelligence needs to come in play? Because if those people are asking for like money and everything to want to support the project, but you're doing it for your community, so you don't understand why people you should pay people. um Maybe you should bribe them to be able to do that for your community. Emotional intelligence, because at that point you can just decide not to do it again, but still the problem is still going to remain there. But now, those who are suffering that are more of the majority than the minority, and the minority are the problems there. And how do you want to face that issue, right? So basically what I'm just trying to say is that the ability to be able to understand your emotions and also others' emotions is a very, very key skill for a leader, non-negotiable, because you need to understand how people react to things to be able to help you to um understand how to respond. You need to be able to understand how people respond to things for you to know how to act, right? So emotional intelligence is actually very, very important. We have critical thinking and problem solving skills. you see a problem, you don't just rush into solving it. Why? Because there are different solutions to one problem. One problem can have like five solutions. Now, the question is, which of the five solutions is the best solution to that problem? This is where critical thinking skills come in. Problem solving skills is interesting and amazing, and you need it, of course, top notch. But thinking skills will help you understand which of the solutions is perfect for this particular problem, right? Critical thinking skills is very important. Adaptability and resilience, this is one thing we are known for as Africans: our resilient spirit, our ability to adapt to situations, challenges, but not just adapt and give up, but more of adapt but still be resilient. Resilience in the sense that, okay, this thing is giving me um is really difficult, right? But still, something has to change, something better has to come out of this thing. So that resilient spirit, not giving up easily, you cannot give up easily. And I feel like that is why I've been able to build um a shock absorber that, regardless of whatever it is, we have to figure this thing out. You understand? So resilience is also very important for a leader. You need to be able, you don't just give up. If you're the type that gives up easily, then you're in for a long journey. Don't let me say the way to say it. So basically, you're in for a you're in for a long thing, basically. Yeah. So now, collaboration and teamwork. You cannot do it alone. As a leader, you need to understand that you need people to work with. You cannot do it all alone, because you just kill yourself. It's very important to understand how to work with people, how to up your teamwork skill, how to collaborate with people, how to partner with people, how to work with people, because it's key. And a leader must really understand this, right? So now, next slide, please. So now, how to become a leader in your community. We've talked about leadership skills. We've talked about we've talked about various priority skills you need to have to be a leader here. So now, how do you now become a leader in your community? One problem with Africans is that we realize there's a problem, but instead of looking for ways to solve that problem in our community, we always want to do it on a global scale. Start within your network, start within your community. You will grow big, you will get big. Calm down. Just start from where you are. Then, after starting from where you are, the more you grow, the more you grow, the bigger you become, basically. So, impact your community first. Start with your community. Look within your community. See what is going wrong within your community and pick that as a problem. Provide a solution to it. Then you grow little by little. You don't just start today and become a global company tomorrow. It's not possible. So now, how do you become a leader in your community? Take initiatives. There's problem everywhere. Like, everything is a business. Everything you see today is either a business idea, an idea for a social change, or something. Take initiative. Don't wait for people to tell you what to do. Don't wait till it gets so bad before you now start working on it. So leadership begins with taking the first step, organizing small activities or initiatives such as neighborhood cleanups, youth mentorship, or fundraising, right, to drive initiatives to your community. And by taking the lead, you inspire others to get involved, to trust in your leadership, and not waiting for someone else to solve the problem for you. We have government issues in Africa. We have leadership issues, especially in our government governance. We have that issues in our community. But like, there are some issues, there are some problems that we shouldn't be waiting for the government to come and solve. These are things we can take up within ourselves, by ourselves, in our community. And these are the things we need to consider, right? Okay. So Lead by example. Try as much as possible to lead by example. Show up, do your work, follow through with your commitments, be consistent in your actions, build trust and credibility within your community. Lead by example. And by doing this too, you're going to inspire and empower others, right? So, inspiring and empowering others is also another way to become a leader in your community. Uh, I've been told that I have like few minutes to go, so I'm just quickly going to round up this. So yeah, I think this is the last one I'm going to be talking on. Sorry, next slide, please. So this is another thing I'm going to be talking on. The role of of technology in leadership. The more we talk about everything in this world, it's more like the more we talk about everything in this world, in this 21st century, is technology is related to it. And how can technology help with your leader? With how can technology help you to lead better? Right. And just like we have here in today's fast paced and evolving, ever evolving world, technology plays a transformative role in leadership. That is non negotiable. That is just the truth. It helps you lead better, it helps you do better, um it helps you understand how to do better in whatever you're doing, as a leader, right? So next slide, please. So now, what is the role of technology in leadership? Next slide. Yeah. So now we have social media as a leadership tool. Social media as a leadership tool, most people actually, or let me say, some people can you please go back? Some people go on social media and it's more like they just scroll through to TikTok, enjoying the fun of TikTok, and we're not making use of social media the way we're supposed to make use of social media. And social media can actually be a leadership tool because it provides leaders with the ability to directly engage with their followers, receive feedbacks, and mobilize people for the cause or movement. Think about Twitter during NSAS. That is an active example of social media as a leadership tool. Then we have access to global opportunities. We have various virtual internship programs. We have the UN. We have global opportunities, global organizations. We have organizations like ISEC, the Intern Group, and virtual internship programs, and that is ready to connect youth to international internship placements, and also not just connect youth, but also give them an avenue. There's this program I was a part of, I think 2021. So it is World Literacy Forum, WLF. Yeah, WLF. So WLF is a kind of like virtual internship program that allows you preach about literacy, talk about literacy, promote literacy across Africa, across the whole world, globally, basically. So this kind of global opportunities are um can only be accessed through technology. You get, so that is it about global opportunities. So just try as much as possible to pay attention to these things and register for them, be a part of them as much as you can. Then leadership development and learning. Learning never stops except you're dead. And by the grace of God, we're all alive in Jesus' name. So for now, yeah, we are still alive and glory be to God. But like as long as you're alive, you need to keep learning because learning basically never stops. So platforms like LinkedIn Learning, Coursera, Udemy offer leadership courses like continuous learning opportunity. So by leveraging these resources, you can actually expand your knowledge. We talked about emotional intelligence. Learn more about emotional intelligence. It's not something you're just going to know in a day, but the fact that you keep learning about it is also going to build and develop your learning abilities and your leadership abilities. Then innovation and growth is encouraging leaders. It's basically technology and how technology works. It encourages leaders to um, think creatively and embrace innovation. When AI, Web3, and the likes of that started, there were people who were saying that juju or something. Like, you just know that they were not ready to accept this kind of technology. But no, the role of technology for you as a leader is to understand that these things exist for this thing exists for to make my job easy, right? AI, digital platforms, they all exist to make your job easy as a leader, and also promote innovation and growth for you as a leader. So adapting all of this, taking up all of this points as a leader is also going to help you grow as a leader, and is going to if influence and impact your leadership role in your community, and helping you to grow basically as a leader. So when we talk about um sorry, last slide please. When we talk about empowering the next generation and leadership in a diverse Africa, we're talking about you, we're talking about me, we're talking about making that change, taking that initiative to make that change. So I'll take questions and answers right now, and I'll take it's question and answer section. So I'll take questions right now, and I think that's basically all from me. So guys, I really look forward to every one of us being that leader, not of tomorrow though, but of today. So yeah, good one. Thank
Yes,
you for
ma.
having me. Yeah, thank you for
Yes,
having
ma.
me.
Thank you very much, Miss Tioluwani Bamboye. Thank you for that insightful section. So now
Thank
we are going to the question and answer section. Please, if you have a question, just type it on the chat so we can answer it. So we have 10 minutes for the question, so you can hurry up. And don't be shy. This is a great opportunity to interact with our speaker and learn from our experience. You can all ask questions. Ayo, Ayanaya, you can ask the question. You can go ahead with your question. Please, if you have questions, okay. Someone has asked a question. Ayo Ayanaya asked, I want to ask, you talked about community service. In my community, there is no sign of community building. How can I start one? My community has a lot of issues and I want to help. How do I go about it, ma?
All right. So thank you for that question, Ayo. And I love the fact that you understand that there are problems in your community, and you'd love to start from somewhere. So I'm just going to mention this. Number one, there's problems everywhere. You cannot solve all the problems, right? So pick that one that you think it is easier for you to. Nothing is easy actually, but let me say pick that one that you know that in the next 5 years you would still be happy doing it, or you will look back in the next 5 years and you'll be happy that you actually solved this problem. You understand? So let's say there's no lights, there's dirt, there's your community is dirty, your basically just giving examples. Let's say literacy in your community is kind of like really low. There's low access to education and everything, and I'm just going to pick that's like three examples: lights, um sorry, electricity in your community, dirtiness, a dirty community, and also education, lack of education or quality education in your community. These are three major issues, and there's some that you really cannot do so much about it, especially the electricity. You really cannot do so much about it, right? But let's say after considering all of these major issues in your community, you realize that okay, the lack of or the low quality education in your community is something you can actually um you can actually take up, then why not? You are literate, you understand what quality education is like. You can start setting up maybe teenage conference, or teenage literacy workshop, or teenage something workshop, just to build your the teenagers in your community, to help them, you know experience that quality education, right? So you need to build yourself first. Of course, it's more like an inside out thing. You need to build yourself first. Then when while you're building yourself, then you can also be impacting in these lives. So what I'm trying to say is, pick the one that you are most comfortable with. Pick the one that you're going to look back after 5 years, and you're going to be thankful and grateful that you really try to solve this problem. And pick the one that, no matter what happens, you are still going to be happy doing it, right? So that's basically what I'm going to say about that. So yes, I don't know if that answers your question.
Yes, ma. Thank you very much. I hope that answers your question. I also have a question for you, ma. Ma, so can you tell us some of the challenges you as a young African social entrepreneur have faced, and how did you overcome it?
Wow.
Hello, ma.
Okay. So yeah, I can hear you. So okay, so I'm just going to say, currently, I'm going to give this as an example. Currently, I'm working on a tech product for Africa and Africans. And what do I realize is the problem? What I realized is the problem is that many, especially in Nigeria, because I'm a Nigerian, yeah. In Nigeria, and I know that it affects many African countries too. People don't really believe in their homemade products. Like, I mean, they have this idea of um, Nigerian products are not quality, or African products are not quality. But that's a very big lie. We have original, authentic, and quality products in the country, in the continent, in fact. But we'd rather import than export, which is really, 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 really bad. Right? So now, I started this product Waraja, which means come and buy. Basically, it's a Yoruba word that means come and buy. And what Waraja is trying to do is promote this African made product, to the point where they get to the global scale and they're competing with other products on the global scale, right? So what I'm trying to say here, I'm trying to answer your question, which is challenges. One of the challenge I am currently facing, because I don't think I've been able to overcome it like 100%, but I'm currently facing this challenge of the mentality that we have towards our product. So as a social entrepreneur, I think I'm even more of a social entrepreneur, more than a social entrepreneur, more of like an entrepreneur, like a businesswoman, right? That's
Yes, ma.
the mentality shift is a major problem. And trust me, I've actually not been able to crack how to solve that. But I feel like it's a challenge I'd really, really love to face and see how it goes, basically. So solving challenges, you don't have to have all the answers to these challenges. Just start, then along the line, you're going to figure out how to solve it. And in the next 1, 2, 3, 5 years, you just see yourself providing solutions, major solutions to these problems. So yeah, I think that's what I'm going to say to that.
Wow. Thank you very much for that very insightful answer. So, as we are coming to the end of this question and answer section, is there any other question? Because there's still time for you to ask. You can still wait. So, if you have any question, just type it in the chat. Okay. Can you to ask the question? As an African leader, how do you break through language barriers to help local communities? Hello, ma.
Yes, I'm with you. Please, can you come over again? Okay, as an African
Yes.
leader, how do you break through that barriers
How
to
do
help
you?
local?
Yes.
But we have solutions. We have various solutions, like getting translators. And one thing about being a social entrepreneur is that if you're moving from one community to another where you know little or nothing, it's advisable to get people in that community to be on the team as probably as volunteers or as a core member of the team. So this is going to help with a lot of barriers, not just language barriers. It will also help with penetrating into this community. It will also help with understanding their problem, because for a particular problem has various solutions across various communities. So it's going to also help you understand the particular solution that is going to solve that problem for that community. So I would advise that as an African leader, one thing that is going to be really helpful is when moving into other communities, get someone in that community to be a part of the team, or a volunteer on the team, so that to help you break all barriers that you might come across. So yeah, I think that
Okay.
that's what I was.
Yes, ma. Thank you. I think we have just time for just one more question. So we're going to take from Fatia. As a leader, what are some tips I need to take initiative in an unresponsive community?
All right. I've been in this situation a lot, a whole lot. Oh my god. So I think one thing that really helped me crack that is emotional intelligence. Right.
Okay.
I've had to face issues where you feel like these people are not responsive, but there may be a whole lot of other things going on in their space that results to them not being responsive. I mean, some people might not be responsive because they probably have like an issue going on right now and they need some time off. Understanding and relating with them on that scale is going to help them come back and make them feel like, oh yeah, this person actually really care about me. So one thing I really do is when I see someone is not responsive, instead of going to the person and say, "Oh, you have not been responsive, you'll be out of the team, we're going to remove you, we're going to do this, we're going to do that," I go to the person and say, "Hey, what's up?" Like just normal chats, normal conversation. Let's just have a conversation. How are you doing? What's going on? Trying to check on the person, and then I
Yes.
can ask like, okay, what's up? What's going on? You have actually not been responsive. I've noticed that. Do you need some time off? Do you need some days off? Do you need some hours off? What would you really like right now? How do you think we can help right now? That person will
That's
never forget.
wow.
Never.
Thank you very
So
much.
don't see them as unresponsive. See them as how you can actually see the situation as how you can be helpful to the person. So yeah, that's what I'm just going to say to them.
Okay. Thank you very much for that tip. And this is the end of this session. We have come to the end of this session. I want all of us to take a moment to reflect on what has been an insightful and enriching discussion. We read powerful stories and actionable strategies on how we can empower the next generation of leaders in Nigeria. A special thank you goes to our speaker, Miss Tioluwani Bamigboye. We say thank you. Thank you for sharing your inspiring journey and for offering practical advice on how young African can rise to meet the challenges of leadership. We thank you very much. I'm also going to thank everybody, all the attendees, for your participation, your question, and for being part of this conversation. And also to the organizing team in Krawdwise. Thank you for your hard work and dedication in making this event possible. Also, let's not forget that this is just the beginning. I encourage each of you to continue these discussions beyond today, to connect with one another, and to apply what you've learned in your communities and organization. Once again, thank you all for being here. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow for day 2 of the Krawdwise Social Impact Conference. Until then, stay inspired and stay connected. Have a great evening, and let's continue empowering the next generation of leaders across Africa. Thank you all for attending this session.
Thank you for having me too. Shout out to
Yes,
the planning committee and good job everyone. Bye. Thank you for having me.
yes, ma'am. Goodbye. Thank you very much, everyone.